What is going on, you guys? Petplatypus here, and it's time to talk about Steven Universe, because there were some Steven Universe episodes that came out recently, and they were fucking amazing, so I want to talk about them. A couple of things I gotta get out of the way first, though. Firstly, if you haven't seen Steven Universe, I'm going to talk about stuff in this video as if you've seen it. I'm just gonna basically make this video as if Steven Universe fans are watching it, so you'll probably be pretty lost if you've never seen Steven Universe. Also, if you haven't seen Steven Universe, but you plan to at some point, don't watch this video. The spoilers are real as fuck. Don't even watch this video. You might be thinking, oh, they won't be that bad. They're that bad. They are that bad. Do not watch this video if you're not caught up on Steven Universe and you plan to catch up. And even if you are a fan of Steven Universe, I'm also going to give a spoiler warning because these are the episodes that were supposed to premiere on January 30th. They were accidentally released on Cartoon Network's website. It wasn't a leak or anything, it is just an accidental upload onto their website, and if you watched them there, then you supported the show and everything, so that's great, but yeah, they were released early, and I'm sure not everyone knows they were released early, so if you don't know that happened, and the episodes aren't there anymore, and you haven't seen them, then yes, this is a spoiler warning for the episodes that are coming out later this month. And the last thing I need to mention is that this is sort of going to be like a test pilot for the every episode of a series or every episode of a season reviewed video series that I'm going to be doing. Obviously, the actual videos are going to be a lot longer because I'll be doing entire seasons, but this will be a nice, bite-sized, more easily digestible pilot talking about 5 Steven Universe episodes. So I'll just be giving you guys a taste of that as well. So with all that being said, let's get started. Season 4, Episode 11, I think. Steven's Dream. A strange dream prompts Steven to search for answers. That's the synopsis. I'm just going to come right out and say it. This episode was amazing. Easily an 11 out of 10 episode of Steven Universe. From the mystery of what his dream means and why he cries while he's having this dream, to him blowing up on the gems for keeping secrets and not letting him go. All culminating with an incredible payoff where we see Blue Diamond in the flesh, kind of, in the weird light mass body, whatever the fuck gems are made out of, whatever the correct term is. And she's there, we hear her, we see her. It's fantastic. Wonderful cliffhanger when she takes Greg. And it's just, and even the conversation between her and Greg was so down to earth and just fantastically written. And another reason why I love Greg's character. And even though we know Blue Diamond is a huge bitch because she's a fucking diamond, you can still have sympathy for her because she lost what was probably a sister to her, Pink Diamond. Her words pack a huge punch, and it's just a fantastic scene. But it's not my favorite scene of the episode. As I was saying before, Steven blowing up on the gems and that conversation he had with Garnet on the stairs, that's the episode highlight for me. Seeing Steven just say, essentially, fuck you guys. Stop saying you have secrets. Stop not telling me shit. I'm Rose Quartz's son. I should know a lot of this stuff. And Garnet doesn't want him to go. The usually calm, cool Garnet is frantically telling him not to go. And by the way, the voice acting throughout this entire scene is immaculate. Zach Callison does a fantastic job as Steven. Estelle is Garnet. It's just a great exchange throughout the entire thing. And their actual conversation on the stairs where she's making it sound more interesting and making Steven want to go even more than he already does. And as an audience member, it really makes you want to have him go there and see what it is. And it's so great. It's just such a good episode. It's so well executed. It plays with expectation. It has mystery. It has wonderful payoff, a fantastic cliffhanger, all in 11 minutes. This is easily an 11 out of 10 episode of Steven Universe. Season 4, Episode 12, Adventures in Light Distortion. Steven and the Gems take off on a search and recovery mission. While not as good as the last episode by any stretch, this was still a really good episode of the show. Really strong beginning, a fillery but still funny middle portion, and then a nice emotional ending to the episode. The beginning of the episode's great because it's just more theory fuel for the fan base, like this whole human zoo thing, and like, well, if Pink Diamond had a human zoo, then that means she's pure evil, right? Because why would she have a human zoo? Because, there were people who thought maybe Pink Diamond liked the Earth, maybe she wanted to start a rebellion to fight against Homeworld, and Rose was just the figurehead of that, and people think they were in cahoots or something, but we don't really know, and that's just one of the theories that's out there, and then you find out she had a zoo where she put humans, which, dark concept, Cartoon Network, but alright, I like it. But once you see the zoo, it's not as bad as it sounds, but still, it's just a really dark concept, so that's a good way to start the episode. You have that great moment with Pearl where And it's really quick, so you might miss it. I love the subtle animation in this show, where she says, "I saw the zoo while still serving under," and she was going to say who she worked for. It's very clear she was going to say who she was a servant for, but she darts her eyes to the side and then she says, "Homeworld." Obviously, this is a writing technique to not let us, the audience, know who Pearl worked for. But from a character standpoint, why doesn't Pearl want to say who she worked for? That's really interesting. So, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see, but I love that little subtle moment there. So yeah, the fact that this zoo exists or existed is good lore and good world building. That little moment with Pearl is great. More mystery about Pink Diamond and who she really was is, here. And then it's just a good beginning to the episode. Then we get to the middle portion, which, like I said, it feels a little fillerish. I mean, they are on their way to get there, but Steven starts playing with the controls, and the gems are changing sizes because of the light distortion and gravity inside the ship, and it's funny. It's cool seeing them the size of rubies. It's kind of fun, and yeah, it's a decent middle portion to the episode. It's funny, and then shit gets dark real quick when they go faster than the speed of light.
Prepare ship for light speed.
No, light speed is too slow.
Light speed too slow?
Yes, we're gonna have to go right to ludicrous speed.
Steven's freaking out because the gems they've retreated inside their gems. He has no idea where they are, what they're doing. They're going way too fast. Steven can't even move his arm to touch the control panel. And he starts freaking out because he thinks they're going to slam into the zoo and all die, and it's going to be his fault for rushing things. In this moment, we see Steven turn into a little kid again. Now, obviously he's a little kid. And obviously he has kid-like tendencies. Even though he's actually like 14, he doesn't act like a 14-year-old. So it's really interesting to see him just break down and say that he wants his dad, and he starts crying, and it's a really good humanizing moment for Steven to see him break down and hit that lowest low when he thinks everyone's going to die and it's his fault. And he is able to grab the panel, he's able to save the gems, they come back inside because they're made of light, and since they were moving faster than the speed of light, that's why they were not inside the ship. Their bodies were being dragged outside. So, cool little weird Steven Universe fake science going on there, and it's a good episode. It's a really good episode. I'd probably give it a solid, on its own, with the beginning being as good as it was, nothing amazing, but still good, and the middle portion being funny and everything, I'd probably give the episode a solid 8, but that ending with Steven's really strong, and it makes me want to bump this episode to maybe like a 9. It was a really damn good episode with a really good moment for Steven at the end. It really sold the episode for me, and now they're there, so there is story progression as well, because they do reach the zoo by the end of the episode. So, yeah, I definitely liked it. Moving on to the next one. Season 4, Episode 13, Gem Heist. I definitely liked this episode more than the last one. It's a really fun episode, and it's really cool to just see all these gems. It's cool to see full-grown amethysts, to see, what was her name, Agate, like Holly Blue Agate. It's cool to see her. It's cool to see Ruby and Sapphire, defuse from Garnet, and they have to, assume identities. Pearl has to be the servant, Sapphire has to be the diplomat, Ruby and Amethyst are her guards. It's really cool how they set it up to break into this prison, and there's lots of good comedy. I love Ruby trying to break into the door. That was great. I love when Ruby starts ranting about Blue Diamond and says she hates love. It's just such an over-the-top line, but it's actually so true. There's some funny moments from Ruby. A lot of it has to do with the voice delivery. Pearl getting a little impatient with being ordered around was funny. Yeah, it's just a overall really solid episode. I believe we find out that Blue Diamond's coming back in this episode, and that's definitely interesting because she just came to the zoo, dropped off Greg. Now she's coming back, so it's like, holy shit, are the gems going to have to confront Blue Diamond? And it's crazy. They have a race against the clock. They got to break in. Steven makes it into the zoo. They put him in this crazy, weird loincloth outfit with earrings, and he gets dropped in there. He sees his dad, and that's where the episode ends. So there's really not a ton to talk about, honestly. It's a lot of them just walking through the hall and trying to keep up appearances, and you find out Blue Diamond's coming. You find out some things about the zoo, like Pink Diamond wanting to bring them there, and why she brought the humans there, and everything, and there's definitely some lore building. And it's definitely a really enjoyable episode. And there is story progression because Steven does get inside where the zoo is. He does find more humans. And yeah, there's really not much to say. Honestly, even though I like this episode more than the last episode, speaking objectively, it's probably an 8 out of 10, a very good episode. It's mostly just from a fan perspective, it's cool to see Ruby and Sapphire separated. That's always a nice little treat because we usually don't get to see that. They're usually always in Garnet mode. And just the cool interactions between the characters and everything, and them trying to keep up appearances. It's just a really fun episode. I like Pearl trying to figure out the control panel, and she's like, I actually have no idea how to figure this out. That was funny. Steven calls her the hacker because they're like a little heist group. It's just a fun episode, and it has its little bits of lore and its bits of story progression. So, yeah, I really enjoyed it. And again, it's really cool to see full-grown amethysts and see that they're not the brightest tools in the shed, actually. They're kind of similar to our normal amethysts we normally see. So, yeah, it's fun. So, it's a fun episode. Moving on to the next one. Season 4, Episode 14, The Zoo. Steven visits a special zoo. That's a very vague fucking synopsis, but yeah, he definitely visits a special zoo. This episode definitely leans a little bit more on the comedic side with all of the humans that are there, and it's, like Greg said in the episode, it's pretty wild that these humans have never been to Earth because they're descendants of humans who have been on the zoo for thousands of years, and they have weird ways of talking, and they're super cheerful and super happy because they've never experienced pain or hurt or anything like that, and it's just crazy to see them interacting and just being themselves. They're a little awkward, but that's because they've never been to Earth. They've only known this fucking one location for their entire lives, so yeah, it's kind of makes sense that they would act that way, and a lot of time is spent with Steven and his dad, obviously, because the show is told from Steven's perspective. There's funny moments. You have the choosing where they, like, pick who you're going to be with, and then that's when Greg has to say, no, I don't want to be with you, and they experience pain for the first time, which I hope they can recover from that. That's got to be a lot of, to go through your entire life happy as fuck and then to suddenly just experience pain and like hurt. That's kind of crazy. So hopefully they're okay after that because they seemed like nice people. Also, Steven punching his dad in the stomach was funny, especially when the dude, what the hell was his name? Like, why something? He's like, cannonball. That was a funny line. And then the amethysts come in and they grab Steven and Greg, and they're like, you two are in trouble, or whatever the amethyst said, and that's where the episode ends. So, not a lot to talk about with this episode. There's funny moments with the humans. It's interesting that these humans have never seen Earth before. It's interesting that they experienced pain and, heartbreak, I guess, for the first time. There's lots of good bits of comedy, but really not a lot else to say about this episode. So, I'm probably going to give it a 7.5 to 8 out of 10. It's still a very good episode. There's a bit of progression by the end of the episode, and these humans will probably play a role later in the series. Also, the other thing I want to talk about in what this episode opens up the possibility of, we know that people think Pink Diamond might have been the one who started the rebellion. She might have been on Rose Quartz's side, but she didn't want the other diamonds to know, so they did it covertly. And then we find out she has this human zoo. So you're thinking, oh, well, that kind of puts the nail in the coffin on that theory. There's no way she had a human zoo. But then when you see how these people are here, how they're so happy, and they're fed, and they're put to bed, and they're treated like babies, it's very clear that they didn't have a proper understanding of how humans work. But still, it's interesting that just that they're treated nicely, and it makes you think, what if Pink Diamond wasn't so bad? What if she wanted to have her cake and eat it too? What if she wanted to colonize the Earth, but she did like humans, and she wanted to move humans somewhere else in order to keep them alive and take care of them, but still make Earth a colony for Homeworld? So it makes you think, and it's interesting. I like that a lot. Also, that voice recording that they listen to when they're told to eat stuff and everything, that could be Pink Diamond's voice. That could be our first time hearing it, just a pre-recording of it. Who knows? Could just be a random gem or like a computerized voice. Didn't really sound like it though, but yeah, it's a really good episode. It raises that theory that I just mentioned, and yeah, I enjoyed it. The final episode in this Steven bomb, and that episode is Season 4, Episode 15, That Will Be All. The synopsis is Steven and the Gems make a daring escape. This fucking episode, dude, oh my god, like two diamonds. Now we've already seen Yellow Diamond before, but two diamonds talking to each other, seeing their personalities interact, seeing the layers to their characters. Yellow Diamond gets a song. She's a Wonderful fucking singer. It's not my taste really in music, but I still appreciate that she's a wonderful singer. Song has good lyrics and everything. The Pearls are fucking adorable as backup singers because they're so tiny compared to the Diamonds. But the song is only one highlight of this episode. The Rose Quartz Gems. Now, I was under the impression that Rose Quartz was a one-of-a-kind because they never refer to her as a Rose Quartz. They always say Rose Quartz. And I assumed she was a one-of-a-kind. They made her, and she was a new gem, and then she rebelled, so like, alright, we're not going to make any more of these fucking gems. But no, they do exist. There's a lot of Rose Quartzes, but they're all bubbled, because they're all like a shame on the name of Homeworld and Gemkind, because one of them rebelled and killed a diamond, so really cool that they're all bubbled. Yellow Diamond wants them all killed, and Blue Diamond wants them to still be there because they were Pink Diamonds, they were her creation, so clearly a gem exclusive to Pink Diamond's court. So we find out little tidbits right there, and I love Yellow Diamond in this episode because it's very clear that she's bottling up her emotions. She's clearly not as heartless as she looks, and really good layers. And even though we know Blue Diamond to be a sympathetic character in these past couple episodes, when Sapphire comes into the room and she says, I didn't have a Sapphire order anything, you could just see her expression just change. You could just see her go from caring about Pink Diamond to just cold-hearted in that moment, and it's not really hypocritical. I mean, it kind of is. It's just one of those moments where, yeah, I care about Pink Diamond because she was like my sister, but this Sapphire, what the fuck's going on here? Like, I don't, like you could just see the personality switch. Just the shift in tone was great, and I love Ruby holding Sapphire's hand to comfort her and say, you know, we can get through this without actually saying anything, and they make their little excuse and they get away, and it's very comedic seeing them hide behind the amethysts and all that, and also the amethysts all being cool with them. That was a great scene too. All the amethysts they're basically like the amethyst we know. They're a bunch of jokesters. We see a bunch from Earth, you know, the beta kindergarten, so they look all janky and messed up. And they're clearly discriminated against by Blue Agate, so I can see them becoming allies in the future. They didn't even lift a finger when Garnet beat the shit, well, not beat the shit out of, but when the gems humiliated Blue Agate at the end, they didn't even lift a finger to help. So it's very clear that they don't like working where they're working, and it's very clear that they're probably going to be allies of the Crystal Gems in the future. Okay. And yeah, just a huge bomb drop that there's more Rose Quartzes. I would love to see one get unbubbled at some point. Not to have a Rose Quartz like join the team or anything, but just to see how Greg and Steven would react to seeing a Rose Quartz. That would just be really cool. Like, that would just be really interesting and surreal for them, and just, it could lead to a great episode, so that would be awesome. It doesn't have to, like, become a motherly figure in Steven's life or anything. Like I said, it doesn't have to join the team. Just to see them interact with one would be really cool and interesting. So yeah, you have a pretty damn good song number. I mean, I don't love the music style, like I said, but still, speaking objectively, it's a good music number that gives good characterization to Yellow Diamond. Seeing her interact with Blue Diamond was great. Just seeing two diamonds and just the tension in the scene with Steven and Greg trying to get the fuck out of there without being seen. They make their comedic escape, trying to hide behind the gems and make sure Agate doesn't see them, and then they get caught. And it's great to see Pearl and Amethyst and Garnet just totally humiliate Agate, and Pearl's scene at the end was fucking the savagery on Pearl. I mean, Pearl's like one of my favorite characters anyways, but when she just gets down on her knees and just says, you're really going to tell them that you fucked everything up and let us escape? That doesn't sound like a good idea. And then she says that will be all, and they do the clap, and that was great. It's a great Pearl moment, and it's fucking hilarious seeing the Amethysts and the janky beta kindergarten fucking gems cheer them on and not lift a finger to help. I really feel like those characters could end up being allies to the Crystal Gems in the future. Like, they are the makings of, like, a new army for the Crystal Gems to fight against Homeworld. So, yeah, that's definitely cool. It's a fun episode. It has tension. It has a great song number, great characterization on the diamonds. It's fantastic. Just easily another 11 out of 10 episode of Steven Universe. So to wrap up my thoughts, this was an amazing set of episodes. Individually, they don't stand that great on their own, some of them, but as a whole arc, it really holds up nicely, and I'm so glad I got to watch them all in one go, because this was just a great set of episodes. Okay, so wrap-up thoughts on Steven Bomb number 5, or you could call it like the space arc or the zoo arc. This was a great set of episodes. While a couple of them don't stand that well on their own as episodes, as a collective, as an arc, they really work very strongly, and it's just fantastic. So what's the future of Steven Universe on my channel? I watch Steven Universe with a friend. We pretty much have this deal where we're both huge fans of the show, so it's like, all right, don't watch an episode without me, we'll watch it together, because we're fucking 7 years old like that. And for a while, he wasn't living nearby, so I had to wait for him to come over so we could watch episodes, and I didn't want to review episodes of Steven Universe when they, were a few days after the fact. But now that he lives closer, he can probably come over pretty much the day of an episode when it comes out. We can watch it, and I can probably review episodes more regularly. So I'm not promising Steven Universe reviews, but if an episode's worth talking about, sure, if I can watch it on time with him and I can watch it in a, like I said, a timely fashion of when the episode comes out, then sure, I'll review Steven Universe episodes. So, that being said, what did you guys think of this Steven bomb? Did you love it as much as I did? Go ahead and tell me in the comments section below. You can also follow me on Instagram or add me on PSN. I'm petplatypus on both. Give this video a thumbs up and share it on social media. Both those would help me out a lot. Subscribe if you haven't already or if you like what you've seen here. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.